This story starts during the first week when we went to observe our future practical classes. The small, timid girl shyly came up to me to show me her cookbook filled with recipes that she was excited to make. My first impression was that she was sweet and shy, and I'd have to encourage her to ever participate in the class. For the first few weeks, my first impression proved to be true. The student sat quietly in the classroom, wide-eyed and occasionally giggling with those around her, but never someone who called out for my direct attention. It wasn't until a supply teacher came in and taught a block that I saw any sort of misbehavior. With the supply teacher, she was loud and rowdy and tried very hard to make her peers laugh. When the supply yelled at her, she laughed as if it was the funniest thing in the world. To say I was shocked by the behavior was an understatement. It wasn't until after March break that I had my first altercation with this behavior from the student. My associate teacher had left the classroom for an extended period of time to help another student, and this particular student I guess saw as an opportunity to act out. She ran around the classroom, yelled and laughed, and the more I demanded her to stop this behavior and threatened consequences, the more she acted out. I went home that day discouraged and confused as to why she had begun to behave this way. This behavior became regular as my teacher began leaving the class more and more, so that I could try out the classroom on my own. The student rarely acted this way with her regular teacher, yet for some reason felt the need to do so with me. I tried everything to try to get the situation back under control. I tried discussing with her one-on-one, I was firm, I gave consequences, I tried to have her reflect upon her behavior and understand her point of view. I constantly spoke with her, as did my associate teacher and even her mother. Every morning I made a point to say hello to her and ask her about her interests, yet the behavior didn't change. What was interesting is that she wasn't like this all the time. During the periods when my associate teacher would teach, she would always be seeking me out to help her with her math, borrow a pencil, or just to talk to me. She went back to being the timid girl that I'd first met, yet one that was constantly seeking out my individual attention. But for some reason, once I began teaching the class, she would often become loud, aggressive, and basically uncontrollable. It affected her learning as well as the learning of the others in the classroom. I began to notice that she became more like this at the end of the day, especially after recess. Days when she would barely say a word or appear tired were often days when she was on the outs with the social group she tried so desperately to be a part of. While I often struggled blaming myself for her behavior, I had to realize that she was also doing this for her peers. She got their attention when she acted out, and this was attention that she really wanted. As the situation with the student continued, I began to really analyze the situation and did research both online and through discussion with other professionals. Something that kept coming up was attachment. The development of a strong relationship with the student was essential for this child's learning, as well as the learning of many other children. This became apparent during the environmental week we did for our leadership project. Prior to this, the student had written something saying that her favorite memory at school was being the helper in her grade 5 class. Once I saw this, I asked her if she'd be willing to help me out with my project. She was quick to say yes, and during this entire week, there was a positive change in her behavior. She had responsibility and a role, and she rose to the occasion. While this change wasn't permanent, I tried to find ways afterwards to have her help me during the classes, which reduced how frequent her misbehavior was. Through this experience, I learned that as much as we try to control the learning that goes on in our classrooms, the truth is we don't have as much control as we'd like. We are often unaware of what goes on in the minds, lives, and hearts of our students, and our power is limited when it comes to their ability to learn. Whether it's due to attachment, abuse, hunger, or the social and intellectual needs of our students, we can only try our best to teach them on any given day. The only real power we have is to go back, every day, and try again, no matter what.